Hello everyone, Ethanator here with Horizon Hobby, and welcome to the fourth video of the Blade Fusion 700 build series. In this video we are going to be assembling and installing the tail section of the helicopter. That includes the tail boom and also the tail section, and we are going to be installing that assembly up to the mainframe. Now with that being said, the first thing that you want to do is locate your tail boom. Now there is a front and a back. The back is going to be the side that has these two holes on either side of the tail boom. So just keep that in mind. We are also going to be using the tail push rod in order to route the tail belt through the tail boom. We are not going to be installing this just yet. We are going to be doing so whenever we install the tail servo in the electronics assembly and installation video. So with that being said, go ahead and locate your tail boom and also your tail control rod. An easy way to route the tail belt through the tail boom is to take the tail push rod and connect it to the tail belt using a zip tie or a cable tie or anything of that nature. I'm just going to use a spare zip tie just like so. The next step is to take the tail push rod that is now zip tied or connected to the tail belt and push it through the front of the tail boom. Keep on pushing it through until you see it come out the back side of the tail boom. Next, you can pull the tail control rod and belt all the way through the tail boom, all while inserting the tail boom into the boom clamps that are located on the upper main frame. Once the belt is sticking out of the back of the tail boom, you can go ahead and cut the zip tie in order to separate the tail control rod from the belt. Looking down the tail boom and verifying that there are no twists in the belt, you can go ahead and rotate the belt 90 degrees just like you see in the video. Make sure that you rotate the belt the correct way. Next, locate the tail fin and also bag T2 in which you will find the tail case. Now, thanks to the Fusion 700 quick build kit, all of the screws that you see here, except for these four in which we need to remove in order to install this to the tail boom, are included with Loctite. However, it's a good idea to check each screw and verify that it has Loctite on it. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and install the tail fin and also the tail case up to the tail boom. With the tail case and tail fin installed on the tail boom, you can now locate parts bag T5 where you will find the tail shaft and also the tail pulley. We can now install the tail pulley and the tail shaft. One thing that you definitely need to make sure during this part of the assembly is that the flat spots on the tail shaft are in line with the two holes on the tail pulley. Once you have confirmed that the two flat spots are lined up with the holes, you can now install the set screws with Loctite. With the tail pulley and tail shaft installed, you can give the tail shaft a push and a pull back and forth to see if there's any play on the tail pulley within the tail case. Now, if there is any play back and forth, included with the kit are these shims right here that you can use to install onto the tail shaft within the tail case and essentially eliminate this play. Next, locate bag T3 and T4 where you will locate the tail pitch slider and also the tail rotor. Once again, thanks to the Fusion 700 quick build kit, the tail rotor assembly, aside from these two set screws and also the tail pitch slider, are already assembled with Loctite. So first, we can go ahead and install the tail pitch slider. Next, we can install the tail rotor. Right here, it is extremely important that the two notches in the tail shaft are lined up with the holes for the set screws on the tail rotor. Coming up to the boom clamps right here, located at the front of the boom, we can go ahead and tighten these down while pulling back on the tail boom itself in order to make the belt tight. Now, with that being said, a good way to do this is have the helicopter upside down or right side up, whichever is more comfortable, and basically give a good pull on the tail boom, all while getting a grip with your other hand and holding that tension. While you are holding that tension, you can go ahead and tighten down these two screws right here. Once both screws are tightened down, you can remove one screw at a time and reinstall it with blue Loctite. Be sure not to lose the washer that is with the screw. You can check the tail belt tension by applying moderate pressure to where you see in the video, and as long as the deflection isn't more than 4 millimeters or so, then your tail belt tension is good. Once you are satisfied with the tail belt tension on your Fusion 700, you can go ahead and tighten down these 4 screws on the left side and the 4 screws on the right side that hold the tail boom clamps onto the upper main frame. Lastly, locate the flight controller mounting plate that is in parts bag M7. We can now install the plate to the helicopter. And just like that, everyone, the tail assembly on the Blade Fusion 700 is complete. Essentially, the airframe is done, as we have the main frame and also the tail all built, as well as the main head and the tail rotor. So again, thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to watch the next video where we essentially complete the build series on the Blade Fusion 700, where we are going to be installing the electronics and essentially getting the helicopter ready for setup. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.